Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Swap Connection with the weekly comic book roundup, and oh boy, have we got a roundup for you this week. Most of the previous weeks of this month have all been kind of light. Yeah, it's we're getting it all. It looks like here at the end we get it all. So dive right in, kicking things off with Sword number 8. The important things to go over when it comes to what's happened previously in Sword is Storm has declared herself the regent of the Soul System, and declared her and thusly also the regent of Araco, formerly known as Mars. So the issue begins with her hovering over it. She's just left Sword Station 2. She could, yeah, sure, she could have taken a gate to Araco, but she's trying to show the people of Araco that this is, that she is, that she just because she knows, just because she can take the easy way, doesn't mean she's going to. But she has been challenged by Fiery Calderock. Apparently this has been happening often. A lot of prominent mutants on Araco have been challenging Storm because she's from Krakoa, and they kind of view the Krakoa mutants as being soft. But basically, Calderock is a pile of walking lava, molten, whatever. So, Storm summons a blizzard. We then get a write-up on the 9 seats of the Great Ring. We have the 3 seats of the dawn, the 3 seats of the day, and the 3 seats of the dusk. The 3 seats of the dawn plan for 3 outcomes that have any conflict. They are deferred to in a time of war. The seats of day are deferred to in time of peace. Currently, they are currently deferred to. The 3 seats of dusk are consulted on what cannot be seen and cannot be touched. This table, though necessary in both war and peace, is never deferred to. So, the 9. So, on for the 3 seats of dawn, the seat of victory. It plans the next battle after a battle is won. Traditionally, the most consulted is also the head of the Great Ring. Formerly, it was the seat of Genesis. Now, Iska the Unbeaten sits there. The seat of stalemate. Not all battles are lost or won. When there is no clear winner, the seat is consulted. Idle sits there. Then we have the seat of loss. It's consulted the dark times of humiliation and pain when the world has fallen. Tarn the Uncaring sits there. As for the 3 seats of the day, we have the seat above us, consulted on matters of the heavens. Lactuca sits there. Lactuca was among those who helped in the terraforming of Araco. The seat of all around us, central seat, consulted on matters of the land, the people, the weather, and the turn of the world. Matter of unbreakable law, the seat has an additional casting vote. Thus, whoever claims the responsibility of sitting here is known as Regent of Araco. Storm sits there. The seat of below us, consulted on matters of the deep. Sobinar sits there. I think Sobinar was also involved in the terraforming. As for the 3 seats of dusk, the seat of law, consulted on all legal matters. Laws of Araco are few and do not change easily, but when they do, the seat of law is the final arbiter. Ora Serrata sits there. The seat of history, consulted on matters of lore, records and decides the history of Araco. Xylo, who was Stulgent, sits there. Again, one of the others who was also one of those who was involved in the terraforming of Araco. And then there's the seat of dreams, consulted on matters of art, poetry, and song. Few challenge for the seat, but those who do are the most dangerous, for they never yield. Lotus Logos sits there. And then, of course, as with Krakoa, there's the ground on which all seems to rest, the voice of Arako itself. The island that fights like a man is always present. However, in the ongoing absence of Red Root, direct consultation is difficult. Arako has little to say on this or on any other thing. But Arako is listening. Always. No mutant who was not an Omega level mutant has ever sat on the Great Ring. Not once. It has never happened, and it never will. But the Great Ring has only 9 recognized seats. There are rumors of 3 more. Okay. So, at the Great Ring, after her fight, after her duel, a knife is thrown at Storm by Lotus Logos. Storm compliments it, explaining that of the knives he's made, it has the best balance yet. Oro Serato will not be joining the council meeting and is recording, in fact, Storm's most recent duel. Apparently, Storm called this meeting of the council, and Iska asks why, wants to know why, and Tarn goads her. And this leads to, but it's decided that, and he continues to goad her, and a challenge is issued. Iska asks if Tarn wants her seat, but he simply says that she offends him. Killing her is motive enough for him. So they both arrive on time, and as soon as Storm arrives, Tarn turns off her powers. No longer Windwalker, but rather, or Windrider, but now Earthcrawler. And he forces new mutations upon her. And Storm stabs him in the chest, stating that if she sees his eyes glow again, she will touch the blade that rests against his heart once. That's all it will take. When Tarn realizes that Storm ain't fucking around, he yields. And she forcibly removes the blade. And then Tarn restores her. Later in her quarters of the Krakoan embassy on Arako, it turns out that WizKid has checked her DNA with what's on file, and yeah, she is as she was before she entered the Great Ring. No sneaky DNA traps, no psychic time bombs. She left the circle exactly as she came in. In fact, they even looked to see if maybe her power were given a boost by Tarn, or if he took a couple of years off her life, amped her ability, so on and so forth. But Storm realizes that he wouldn't do that because that would be an insult. And she steps out into the rain and smiles, and that is where the issue ends. Okay, whenever you see a book in the books that make the thumbnail are usually just that good in my opinion, for the group from that specific video. And yeah, Sword Number 8 was that good. I've read I've been reading X-Men comics for close to 30 years, on and off. I've read Storm stories of various quality. This is one of the best. By and far, one of the best. Moving on to our next book, we've got Wolverine number 16. Where we left off, Wolverine discovered that Solem had stolen his Muramasa blade from the summer house on the moon. So the issue begins with him at the Green Lagoon drinking, because Logan, you know, I mean, it's kind of his thing. Good day, drink a bottle of whiskey. Bad day, drink 2 bottles of whiskey. You know, just a day. Drink whiskey till you just figure out if it's good or bad. But Solem shows up. In fact, he's even ordered them some rather nice drinks. 61 Left Bank Bordeaux, which apparently was deep in the cellar. Yeah. Logan's not in the mood for pleasantries. But Solem tries to explains to Logan that okay, sure, you know, Sylvia Blackmore probably told you a few things, and he's a liar. That's what he does. I mean, I am too, but you know, hey, you know, he is just as likely to pillage. His next target is likely Krakoa when it comes to the places on Earth to pillage. So, but he states that he claims that it was Blackmore that attacked the Marauder. In fact, Solomon states that he made sure that the Autonomous got back to where they were supposed to go, Krakoa. But but he also states that Blackmore was rather cruel to him. He couldn't cut Solomon, but he could hurt him other ways: isolation, starvation, exhaustion, fear. But Solomon suggested that he and Wolverine work together to take down Blackmore. We get an entry from Sage logbook on the Muramasa blades. Who Muramasa is, the Hand, the Beast, the Blades, and of course Logan. But so Logan brings Solomon to Blakemore. Of course, or to Blackmore. Blackmore, of course, betrays him, but makes clear he's going to betray Logan, and so Logan frees Solomon. However, Solomon leaves. So he and Wolverine fight, and Wolverine wraps the anchor's chain around Blackmore and kicks him off, cuts the chain, and knocks Blackmore into the sea. But he now has the blade, and so Logan also has Blackmore's ship, which he delivers to Emma Frost, who is potentially speaking owed a ship. She finds the vessel itself to be revolting, but he basically asks for a favor. So Logan and Black Tom are walking the island. It turns out there are quite a few places that they're part of the island but not connected to the island. No places, you might call them. Maybe kind of like A specific no place belonging to a specific mutant that everyone thinks is long dead and not a mutant. Maybe. Well, turns out there's one piece of Araco that stayed with Krakoa, the Arakan Point. It's the transit hub to planet Araco. And it's where Solom's been staying the entire time. Apparently he's been using... But, he's been... Solom has been doing what he does best, using others for his delights. And not just mutants. The island, too. So... But he's got a few things, some of eggs. He's got his own personal cerebro. And it looks like, either Wolverine can stay and play with Solom, or he can fuck off. Which is when Emma shows up. In diamond form. Not too happy, and it explains that her and Solomon have much to talk about. Christian, the Marauder, the Lord of Logic Diamonds, even a possible partnership on the Araco Transit Hub. If he's a good pawn and does what the Queen tells him. We then get Sage's logbook entry on Emma Frost's interrogation of Solom. Apparently one of her first impulses was to put him in the hole, but he could be useful, but as she puts it, a useful but if unsavory tool. He's never been psychically interrogated, but he's swiftly developed defensive techniques, including conjuring lewd images. Solom was very much a dog person. He was somehow able to find a way to fuck Krakoa. He really wants to fuck Logan. And, well, everyone and everything else, but still, apparently she explains that, well, first he really, really wants to fuck Wolverine. Then again, he really, really wants to fuck everyone and everything. But, Emma does actually kind of think that maybe storing a helmet in a black hole is, a cerebral helmet in a black hole is not a bad idea. A backup of a backup. But apparently Solom somehow convinced the island to insert a slime mold into the helmet, interrupting its circuitry. Ford replaced it with the old helmet left forgotten on a shelf in the arsenal. Solom stole it, and once in his possession, the slime mold retreated. However, the Demon Bride, whose demonic groom Logan killed when he and Solom were getting their Muramasa blades, she's on Earth and in charge of the hand and the power behind the hand. And well, there's an old saying about what hell has no fury like, and that is where the issue ends. I had to admit, I was kind of hoping for a knockdown, drag-out fight between Wolverine and Solom. Hell, I've been hoping for that since Ten of Swords. But that worked. That really worked. It was a good and compelling. It was a fun story with him. It made sense as a conclusion. I have to wonder just how many favors to Emma Frost Wolverine's going to rack up, but it's been stated he owes her a few already. So, moving on to our next book, and this is kind of the doozy of the week. Inferno #1. So Inferno is the last X-Men story that Jonathan Hickman will be writing. The end of it is not going to be the end of the Krakoan era, just the end of Hickman's involvement. Oh, direct involvement. Or maybe it's just their involvement in general. It's the way you read, the way articles talk about it. Yeah. Anyway, we open up with a quote from Omega Sentinel. Someone remembers. It's why they keep coming. But Xavier and Magneto are resurrected by Emma, who looks at Xavier and simply says, asks him what it is he likes to say in times like this. To me, my X-Men. It's a fun little moment, but we get a threat analysis on Orcus, including the map of everything that, from the Orcus Forge in orbit of the Sun to Venus. You've got defense platforms in what seemed to be in an orbit similar to Mercury's orbit. We've got watchtowers on Venus, Sentinel City and the Orcus bunker on Mercury, telepathic buoy system between Mercury and Venus, the telepathic minefield basically, and then the forge itself in orbit around the Sun. We also learn of a handful of attempts made upon Orcus. There was mutant incursions, Domino's escape, Mystic planning a gateway, an attempt to push the forge into the Sun, countered by Dyson's engines. This was done by Magneto. After 30 minutes of trying, Magneto had an aneurysm and died. X-Force made an insertion breach attack. Bodies recovered in transit, warning sent. Magneto tried to use a mutant circuit in the forge's location on the opposite side of the Sun to pull the forge into the Sun using his enhanced powers and the star's gravity. The circuit collapses, unable to overcome the Dyson engines. A few more insertion breach attacks by X-Force. A hack with an emergency message from Kid Omega. Mystique's gateway being discovered and subsequently destroyed. 3 non-mutant incursions. One by TechNet. One by the Brood Swarm, directed by King Brew. And one that is redacted. But X-Force, once again, it tries to infiltrate and breach. Domino is promptly taken down with cluster bombs. Cluster bombs with quantum targeting, which target in excess of the combat area. The AI that is Nimrod transfers itself to another body, and then promptly disintegrates the Kid Omega when he tries. Wolverine manages to cut up one Nimrod body, but is then promptly disintegrated. Director Devo, Dr. Gregor, and Omega Sentinel discuss everything. They wonder, and while Orcus's response time is improving every time, mutants seem to be doing the same thing. It's like they're not learning how. So clearly they don't remember what happens when they get here. But Omega Sentinel then says what she said, the quote from the beginning of the issue. Someone remembers, because that's why they keep coming. But apparently they have the remains of every mutant attack team in stasis. We then cut to the end of Moira McTaggart's third life. She's just made her cure for mutant kind when the Brotherhood attack. Destiny goes on. Apparently, Destiny can't see her, basically, but she can't see her. Moira is a black spot. So if you know what you're looking for, you know how to find her. Look for the black spot. It's basically an expanded version of events from, I want to say, Powers of 10 number 2, which went over the many lives of Moira X. But and yeah, it's a much more expanded upon bit, talking about the fact that she's not functionally immortal. She has 10, maybe 11 lives at most. The only way to truly kill her is to kill her before her powers manifest. And of course, how maybe Moira came up with the idea of a cure for mutant kind to for those who have powers that maybe aren't. Like if someone has a mutation that is harmful to them. A prime example would be from Ultimate X-Men. There was an issue wherein the kid's mutant power manifested, and it was like a death aura, and it wiped out a huge chunk of a town. A few days later, Wolverine shows up, brings the kid some beer. Like, hey, have a drink, have a beer, man, because the world, I got, and Wolverine kills him. Basically, so that no one ever finds out about the kid who killed half of a town when his mutant powers manifested. Someone like that would be perfect for Moira's cure, but Mystique and Desmo say, you really think that's what they're going to use it for? No, it's going to be used for so that they don't, maybe there's some midget from Canada with 3 extra bones in each arm, and they're razor sharp, and he can smell when you're lying, and maybe and even more better, when he gets shot in the face, 5 minutes later he stands back up. Maybe they figure, well, we give him a mutant cure. Then he can't. Then we shoot him in the face again. He doesn't get back up. They don't use that exact idea, but yeah, that would be the kind of thing that is definitely something that would definitely be gone over with the mutant cure. And then of course Pyro kills her, but she goes back to the remains of Muir Island in her 10th life. Then to Paris. Turns out there's an Orcus Node 4 in Terra Verde. They monitor the various gates, and they've got a monitoring team at every gate they know of, including one in Paris. It's got some AIM personnel, some former SHIELD personnel, but they get a hold of Node 4, which includes AIM personnel as well as PhD apes. Turns out they're using coding that they got courtesy of Horde culture. There's an argument about the quality of the code. Horde culture insists it's divine, but they look into it more, and it turns out that the location they're looking at has 2 gates. But one of Pete Wisdom's former strike team members informs Sage of what's going on, and just will stay on it. When Moira returns, Magneto and Xavier are waiting for her, and they talk. It turns out they put spiked the tea that they toasted with nanites, so she can be tracked. She pretty much makes it clear she thinks that they're just going about everything they'll work. making every mistake possible. You know, Destiny is this close to being resurrected as far as she knows. It also makes it clear that Moira, the whole no precogs resurrected rule, was really just worded that way so that the rule wasn't just fuck Destiny, fuck her, fuck her, fuck her. But sadly, every precog has to suffer because of that, because Moira hates Destiny. But they want to make it so it's impossible. But she tells Eric and Charles to make it impossible to resurrect her. Erase the backups of her. Get rid of her genetic material. Wiped from existence. We see Magneto taking care of the backups, while Charles takes care of the genetic material. There's a medical report on Black Tom. I'll actually get to that on Meeting Monday. It turns out that Cypher and that Cypher's home on the island is called Rosetta. But Warlock finds Beta to be scary, and he agrees she's a little terrifying, but he loves her, so he loves her. Well, he also loves Krakoa too, but Cypher wants to know how things are going on the island. Meanwhile, the council is gathered because Cyclops is stepping down as Captain Commander. It's the kind of thing they haven't really... They've done a little with it, but not a lot, so yeah. It's easy to forget that was the case. But you had the four great captains of Krakoa. One was the Captain Commander being Cyclops. Made sense. He was on the council, but it gave him a prominent position within the Krakoan hierarchy. The other captains were Magic, Bishop, and Gorgon. Gorgon, having been killed in Otherworld, didn't come back the same after being resurrected. So, Psylocke, Quainon of the Hellions, has been recruited to take his place as a captain. And Bishop is being tapped to become the Captain Commander. Cyclops will remain a captain, but he's not Captain Commander. Especially seeing as how he is now spending his time between... He is largely operating out of the treehouse in New York as opposed to Krakoa. Everyone seems to agree, and the council thinks maybe, maybe they need to do something similar with the council. So the council is brought together, complete with its 2 empty chairs at the moment, with someone, and kind of, hey, maybe if anyone, maybe it's time we brought in some new people, refilled the seats, and maybe also, if anyone wanted this, maybe wanted to step down and focus on other things, maybe, that would be something that would be fine, And it's kind of asked, and Magneto would say that he's considering doing just that, actually. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but he is considering it. And Mystique, however, informs them that she has a candidate in mind for one of the empty seats. That candidate is Destiny. And that is where the issue ends. Wow. And this is just getting started. I'm debating whether or not we're going to be covering each issue on Mutant Monday or not. The first issue definitely will be. Now, you may note, some of you eagle-eyed viewers may have noted in the thumbnail that this is the cover I showed you isn't the cover that's there. So we'll take a quick look at the variant. I initially was kind of leaning towards not getting it, but it grew on me as I was at the shop, so yeah. Which brings us to our last book for the video, Star Wars number 17. tie into War of the Bounty Hunters. So we got two main things going on in the issue are that Vader's after Luke, and the Falcon is adrift in space, as is Vader's shuttle, which has Han Solo aboard. Luke and Vader have a bit of a dogfight throughout Jakara, but something that Luke notes is that as he skims the near frozen oceans, causing a bit of spray, the water freezes before ending up back in the water. So he basically traps Vader's TIE fighter in some of the frozen spray. And he swings back around and he's getting ready to fire the X-Wing's laser cannons, but he can't. He can't do that. Because he's not ready to face him. Not after what Vader said to him on Cloud City. But now he can't get to Han. So Luke goes back up to help the Falcon. But Lando goes into one of the maintenance corridors. It's a small maintenance crawl space. Leia initially volunteers to go, but Lando says, "Hey, there's a lot of switches and whatnot that have to be thrown in specific order. You missed one of them. You get the order wrong. It's all for naught. So I know the order, so I'll do it." But while he's down there, Lando talks with L3. If you haven't seen Solo, a Star Wars story, it's explained that the interesting manner of communication that 3PO notes that the Falcon has comes from the droid L3, whose basically mind was uploaded into the Falcon's computer system after, to basically, keep the body, after their body was destroyed. But yeah, it works. But Leia notices that they are not. The Hutts are heading towards the shuttle, and they're not going to get the Falcon fixed in time to stop the Hutts. So Luke goes to stop the Hutts, but Vader has used the Force to free his TIE fighter from the ice, and yeah, he may have gotten rid of the transparent steel, the viewport. But hey, that suit's a friggin' iron lung, high-tech iron lung. So yeah, he doesn't. It doesn't matter that he's exposed to vacuum. So yeah, Luke's not going to do much good. Leia and Lando talk about things, and Leia manages to recruit Lando into the rebellion. But because Lando explains that he's not interested in throwing his life away for nothing. Because he get into fights he can't win. When it comes to something he cares about, or someone he cares about, he's as brave as they come. When it's like that, he doesn't care about the odds. And you can bet on that. So Leia simply tells him that that's what the rebellion is. People finding strength they never knew they had to save the things they love. That's the rebellion. The odds are against them. It's the longest of long shots. It's the biggest gamble of all time. You put it like that, and what's a long time gambler to say? But you're good. But yeah, Chewie gets the Falcon back up and running, and they gotta go. So now they gotta go save Han. And that is where the issue ends. Yeah, I like the fact we're seeing the whole thing between Luke and Vader, especially, play out between 3 separate books. So that's actually I actually normally I'd be opposed to that kind of thing, but with it being labeled as being a crossover, I actually kind of appreciate it because it makes it feel like, all the tie-ins actually matter. So yeah. Anyway, that's to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.